Hey guys, welcome back. We have another week of astrology to get into. We're closing out the month of March this week, and we are also closing out our 2024 astrological lunar year. Our astrological energetic lunar years begin with the new moon in Aries each year as we cycle through all of the 12 lunar cycles, new moon phases of the zodiac. Pisces, of course, is the last one, and we are in the last week of that cycle. So last couple of days, you guys, of 2024 energy from the astrological, energetic, lunar cycle perspective. So, of course, this time of year is naturally going to be about endings, culminations, closing things out, letting things go. And we know that we are in an eclipse window right now as well, which has a lot to do with karmic release. Really, there's so many indications coming through right now that this week, especially the first part of this week, has a lot to do with what we're letting go of, what we're releasing, what we're surrendering, what we're moving on from. We even start the week with an exact Sun-Mercury retrograde conjunction. Again, like looking back at the past, closure, resolution, tying up loose ends, like fixing things, reviewing, and yeah, there's just a lot of energetic focus right now on where we've been and what we're leaving behind as we prepare to move forward throughout the rest of this week towards this new energy that is coming in. We do have the new moon in Aries. That would be our energetic new year going on the 29th. We'll be talking about that later this week. And that is accompanied by a solar eclipse this year that could also have to do with some major transitions and change. Some very like fated, destined, synchronistic seeming events could be playing out, especially as we get more towards the end of the week. And we also have Neptune entering the sign of Aries on March 30th as we close out this month. We haven't had that energy in over 150 years. So that is something new that is on the horizon as well. And we've got a lot to talk about. This is probably a very busy week. This is another one of those weeks though where like things are probably not clear. There could be a lot of confusion, miscommunication, misunderstanding. And so let's get into it, you guys. Put it all together, see if we can come up with something where we're at as we get the week started, and where this energy is carrying us as we close out the month of March and head towards the new moon in Aries. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Monday, March 24th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day where we are narrating the shift of the ages. And if you guys stick with me until the end of this report, I have done a collective tarot reading for us today as well. I like to tap the energy field from more than one modality whenever I'm doing these energy overviews just to get an alternative energetic perspective on what's going on out there. So there could be some messages in there for you. We're going to do that at the end. We have a lot of astrology to get into. This is of, March. You guys, the Mercury retrograde energy is strong right now. So I feel as though I'm probably going to be stumbling over my words a lot in this video. I'm going to do my best not to do that. But if I say the wrong thing and you know what I mean to say and I didn't say it, just know what I meant to say. And I don't know. It's just one of those days in terms of the verbal flow of things. I can feel it already. So anyways, that's where I'm at. Talking about the astrology though, this is probably the most active week of the month of March. March itself was a very, very active, or, has been a very active astrology month. There have been it's been like transit after transit after transit after transit, tons going on, lots of planets in the sign of Pisces. Of course, we've been moving through our Pisces season. That is one of the reasons why we've been having so many transits, because we've had Saturn and the North Node and Neptune in the sign of Pisces, and Mars in Cancer. Saturn and Mars have been in sort of this sustained trine, which is actually something that comes exact again this week, which is something that we'll be talking about as we move throughout the course of the week. But we do have some big transits taking place this week. As I mentioned in my intro to get the week started, we do have the Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde, which essentially is like the heights of Mercury retrograde energy. So it's probably not just me. A lot of people are probably tripping over their words or saying the wrong thing, or miscommunications, misunderstandings, that type of thing is likely to preside over the just the information field as we move through the day, Monday specifically, but also the entire week itself, very retrograde oriented. But Monday, as we get the week started, we do have the Sun conjunct Mercury retrograde. I'll talk more about that as we move through the report, but I want to start out by just giving you guys a summary and let you know day by day what is playing out, what we have going on, so that you know what to be tuned to and in tune with and sort of prepared for as we do move through this energy. It is probably going to be just like a very, very busy week though. Whenever we've got a lot of transits going on, it usually translates into a lot of activity in our lives. So you could find yourself just feeling like one thing after another, after another, after another throughout the course of the week. But anyways, okay, the 24th, that's Monday, that's today. We've got the Sun Mercury retrograde conjunction. On the 27th, we've got three things going on. We have the black moon entering the sign of Scorpio. That's a major vibe shift. The black moon is in every sign for approximately 9 months. And so we've been moving through black moon Libra energy for the past 9 months, and now we're about to start a new experience, sort of interfacing with another area of kind of like the depths of the underworld of our psyche, as that's what the black moon does. And that's why, honestly, out of all of the like asteroids and varying astrological bodies outside of the standard planets that we could follow, I do like to follow the black moon because it tends to be quite a pronounced energy when it's being activated. The black moon is activated each month when the moon is transiting through the sign where the black moon is in conjunction to the black moon, or the sign opposing the black moon. The black moon really functions in polarities, and it does have a tendency of reflecting back to us, or just for some reason shining a light on or giving us a greater awareness of some of our own like shadow side issues, fears, worries, insecurities, doubts, the things that are triggering us, the things that happen when the black moon is being activated and how we react and respond. Ultimately, I always say, I feel personally like this black moon energy, when it's being activated, is to actually like help us gain an awareness of that which is typically hidden from, our own conscious awareness, and therefore be able to kind of like integrate or heal any of the issues that may be being held within it. It also gives us the opportunity through that process to sort of like reprogram various areas and dynamics of our own subconscious mind to sort of like alter the way that we are interfacing and interacting with our conscious reality, because usually the things that we are unaware of hold a lot more power over our lives and our behaviors, our subconscious responses to things than we're actually aware of. So when that black moon energy is activated, it does give us the opportunity to learn more about ourselves, and usually in a way that can be quite liberating from perhaps like some self-sabotaging patterns, or just certain ways of doing, being, and relating that we were unaware we were acting out in order to deal with some of the subconscious issues related to those black moon issues. And this is not a video where I'm going to dive in depth into the black moon, or the black moon in Scorpio, or the black moon in Libra, or really anything about the black moon. That was everything I'm going to say about the black moon pretty much. But that energy shifting is going to take us on a new journey through the depths of our own psyches, and especially those of us with strong Scorpio or Taurus energy, stelliums in these signs, or natal black moon in the signs, or just sun, moon, or Chiron also in Scorpio or Taurus, probably going to be feeling it the most as we move through the course of this next 9 months. So something to be aware of. Another shift that is taking place this week on the 27th. Now, aside from that, also on the 27th, we have Venus retrograding back into the sign of Pisces and coming again into a conjunction with the north node of the moon. Now, we already had this energy once. It occurred February 1st. So I will also kind of say, as we're getting started in this report, there could be a relevance or a full circle things coming back around pertaining to the beginning of February and also the beginning of March as we move through this week. Venus conjoined the North Node February 1st. Mercury conjoined the North Node March 2nd. And they both reconjoined the North Node because of their retrograde processes this week. So, I don't know. Things that happened then, things that came up then, things that were started then could have some special relevance or just be coming back up or coming back around as we move through this week as well. Now, we do have 4 planets changing signs this week also. As I said, Mercury and Venus are both backing into Pisces. The Black Moon is moving into Scorpio, and Neptune is entering Aries on the 30th of March. That's the last thing that is happening this week, and that is really what is, leading us into the month of April, which is probably... Well, it's interesting. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay, we'll talk about April in a little while. But 4 planets changing signs, that is also going to indicate vibe shifts, shifting energy, and just like a lot happening in a condensed period of time. Now, as we move from the 27th through the 28th and into the 29th, that is when our new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Aries is. That is the beginning of our new astrological lunar year that is going to play out from new moon in Aries to new moon in Aries of 2026. And again, because of the way our eclipse cycles are falling right now, the new moon in Aries also happens to be a north node solar eclipse. This is the eclipse where, while we are still in very like fated, destined, karmic territory, and there's definitely, especially as we are getting this week started, this energy having to do with the whole theme of karmic release, endings, culminations, all of that, coming to the end of something, moving on, letting go, super strong vibe, as it has been as we've been moving through this eclipse window that began with the full moon south node lunar eclipse, letting things go from the past, being released from old cycles. Yes, that's what we've been moving through. But as we get towards this new moon solar eclipse in Aries, I think that's where it sort of flips from the emphasis on that karmic release to perhaps the emphasis on these divine alignments, divine intervention, like fated, destined feel vibe, very synchronistic, seemingly coincidental meetings and interactions and opportunities, things falling into place. We're being pulled more towards what's coming next, maybe in this more divinely or spiritually oriented way as we get towards the end of the week. And again, that's happening on the 29th. And until then, though, there's still very much this emphasis on what we're letting go of to get to that point. So that's the 29th. And then as we move into the energy of the 30th, the last day of the month of March, we have Mercury re-enter the sign of Pisces. Mercury conjoin Neptune at 29 degrees and 59 minutes of the sign of Neptune, or the sign of Pisces. Literally the very, very last degree minute of the sign of Pisces. That's where this Neptune Mercury conjunction, Mercury retrograde conjunction is that happens. So that's probably going to be an interesting experience as well. The 30th is crazy. And then immediately kind of like after that, because remember that conjunction is happening at 29:59 of the sign of Pisces, Neptune takes that 1 minute forward and hits 00.00 of the sign of Aries. We haven't had Neptune in the sign of Aries in over 150 years from the Western zodiac perspective. So this is some big news. This is a big energetic shift. It is Neptune changing signs. You know, Neptune changes signs every, I think it's like 10 to 15 years-ish. But it's the sign of Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. So Neptune is moving from the very last degree minute of his cycle around the entire zodiac that, as I said, has taken over 150 years, around more like 165 years. And he is preparing to move to this very first spark, very first degree, very first 00.00 of the sign of Aries, beginning a brand new cycle around the entire zodiac. So it's not just a new signal transit, although it is, but it's also a new cycle around the whole zodiac that's beginning right now. So it is the dawn of a new day. I feel like sort of this is kind of like Neptune is the dream, Neptune is the vision, sort of like a new vision for humanity maybe being birthed at like now and over these next several months. Now, Neptune will will go retrograde, I believe, and exit the sign of Aries, move back into the very tail end of Pisces once again. But we do have a pretty we've got a pretty good period of time while Neptune moves into Aries before that happens. I need to double check when Neptune goes retrograde and goes back into Pisces. I do think that that is also going to happen. But for now, we are getting our first dose of Neptune and Aries energy, and it's probably going to be another one of these quite palpable vibe shifts. Also, I would like to note from the Vedic sidereal astrology perspective, Uranus enters the sign of Taurus this week. The Vedic signs fall back about 24 degrees from the Western signs. So there could be just a highlighted emphasis on the Uranian energy going on as we get the week started today as well. This, of course, will be pertaining to those Uranian Taurian themes. Could be resources, financial markets, things to do with property or assets, food, agriculture, value, worth, monetary stuff, could have to do with crypto, things along those lines as well. Land. Okay, so just another thing of note now, all that being said, as I said, probably going to translate into a busy week. Things may not go as planned. Things from both the beginning of February and the beginning of March, relevant again, maybe somehow, and a time of highly fated and karmic events. But as I said, as we move from the beginning of the week through the end of the week, there seems to be a bit of a shift from the emphasis on the karmic end of things to what is just happening, like what is probably feeling kind of out of our control, but just seems to be falling into place around us. There is a very like strong notion, I think, going on right now of a lot of people just feeling like the things that are playing out in their lives are, for one reason or another, like beyond their control. And when we're in situations like this, especially in the midst of an eclipse window, this really is a time that we are best suited to surrender, trying to control that which is out of our control, and do our best to rest in the faith that somehow things are gonna land in a way that is supportive of us, and they're being put right on a higher level, even if we don't understand it right now. That's another big dimension of the way energy is coming together this week. With the last degree of Pisces and the Neptune conjunction with Venus and Mercury and the retrograde energy again being indicated, you guys, like nothing is real in this. Nothing is clear. Like, yes, there's probably some type of inner knowing that is building as we head towards this new moon solar eclipse that something is coming, something's about to change, and maybe change like for real or like in a very lasting, tangible way. But in this like super strong Neptune at the very last degree minute, retrograde conjunctions, Venus, Mercury for the second time, nothing is clear. Okay, there's going to be, as I said, like a lot of misunderstandings, a lot of like thinking you heard or saw or read one thing, but it actually said something else. And when you go back and look at it, you're like, oh my God, this is actually like totally different from what I thought it was. A lot of misconceptions, a lot of people also like changing their mind about things, reconsidering things. And I do think also a lot of people are going to be looking for an out, looking to escape. The desire to disconnect, to detach could be heavy energetic presence as we get the week started. Now, divine timing, fated meetings and connections, divinely inspired creativity and artistry, necessary isolation as well, heightened spiritual connection, water, emotions, feelings, and the water element being emphasized, or also maybe feeling quite immersed in some type of dream or fantasy or illusion, or contrary to that, find ourselves for some reason being released or like the spell broken in terms of some fantasy ideal or vision that maybe we had been caught up in for some period of time. Again, though, the desire to disconnect from reality could be quite strong in this particular combination of energy. It does feel like the door to something is closing behind us as we move through the week this week and begin to move into the month of April. But another thing that I want to say, even though we do have this solar eclipse and we do have our new moon in Aries, and generally the new moon in Aries indicates a time in the year when things are sort of springing forward, like when the fuse is lit on something and we're like launching forward, very action oriented. This is a cardinal cycle. It's all about rebirth and renewal and charging ahead, like running in head first, jumping into things, rocket ship blasting off. But there's a lot of, it's like almost like pressure or restraint being applied to the ability for that Mars action-oriented Aries warrior energy, leader energy, pioneer energy to like move forward in an unrestrained, streamlined manner. And it continues actually as we move into the month of April. There is still quite a prominent Saturn energy that's going on in the month of April. We have Saturn, you guys know, transiting through the sign of Pisces right now. Saturn will also come into this conjunction with the North Node that we've been dealing with in terms of all of the planets that have been moving through Pisces during Pisces season. And while I do think once we perhaps get through kind of like the midway point of the month of April, Venus and Mercury will be stationing direct, Mars will be entering the sign of Leo, there is, you know, sort of an energetic push that is indicating perhaps an opportunity to kind of get the ball rolling on some things. The presence of Saturn, you guys, is very strong and very pressing throughout essentially the entire month of April as well, which makes me think, leads me to believe that, again, this energy is very much about like slow and steady wins the race. If we are just rushing ahead, if we are not being careful, if we are not being focused, if we are not paying attention to details, like if we are getting too far ahead of ourselves, this is not going to be suitable to like the vibe of cosmic creation that universe is trying to like bring into our reality right now. It really does feel like what is being allowed to move forward is that which is not done, you know, the quick and easy way, but that which is done the right way, even if it takes an extra amount of time, even if it's like this tremendous feat of labor to like bring into manifestation. That seems to be what is being supported here with Mars and Saturn having been in this trine for so long. To me, it's a master builder energy, and it's like if it's not almost perfect in its execution, it's not like being allowed to move forward. And with the planets retrograding through the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars, and Mars in the trine, even though we're moving into the new moon or Aries season, Mars still with Saturn, and Saturn moving through the end of Pisces, and then Saturn's going to be moving into Aries as well. I think that, you know, if we want to find progress, you know, if we want to find success, we kind of just have to keep chipping away at it. Any type of like overnight sensation or like overnight success, unless for whatever reason our chart is specifically aligned for that, or it's like a part of whatever experience we're supposed to be going through right now, it's just, I don't think it's the way that this energy is functioning. This is like a slow, gradual progression towards something that is actually radically new and different, and like dynamic change are also represented through this process. But it does seem to be, at least for now, at least moving into the month of April, something that is still being to some extent restrained. Okay, but big changes are coming nonetheless. Just, I don't want you guys to think that like we're going to get into the month of April and all of a sudden it's going to be like this slingshot forward, because I'm just not seeing that, at least from the way that things looked to me glancing at the upcoming month of April. I didn't look at it in all the detail, and again, Mercury's retrograde, so I very well could have missed some things or seen some things backwards. But I think that self-discipline, self-control, restraint, care, diligence, being detail-oriented, one step at a time. I just feel like this is kind of the proper trajectory that we're being asked to move along as we go throughout this next several weeks. Now, for this week, though, specifically as we get the week started, as I just said a minute ago, this is not a rationally, logically minded week. This is like abstract, non-linear, daydreamy, idealistic mental energy, slow, sluggish, detached in terms of the way our neurons are firing. Nothing and no one are likely to be making all that much sense. There could be a lot of like dishonesty and manipulation that is going on out there as well. People could be also just like doing things or saying things and have no idea why they just said that. No idea why they just did that. No idea really why they just bought that. They didn't even really want it. They just kind of did. So there's that type of thing. And again, nothing really clear, nothing really straightforward, and not necessarily that truthful, realistic, honest. But it's weird because even though that is the case, nonetheless, there is still something that is very important or significant about perhaps some revelations or some information or conversations or ideas or connections that could be taking place that could for some reason be life-changing. And I'm saying that because of the North Node solar eclipse that's coming up right now and the fated element of that, and the fact that the North Node is in the end of Pisces in a conjunction with Neptune when Mercury and Venus re-enter Pisces this week. Again, they will be coming back into a conjunction with the North Node, but from their retrograde motion. So there could be something highly fated, highly impactful, highly significant in terms of the nature of information that's presented or of narrative or storyline or gossip. I don't know, something that we're finding out about that is just like making an impact somehow. I don't know. This could also be of a very spiritual nature with the Neptune 29 degrees, 59 minutes of the sign of Pisces influence. And again, it could have to do with the past, endings, and letting go. As I always say, both Neptune and Pisces have to do with what is being released, what is being washed away, what we're ending, how we're dissolving, how we're detaching, how we're disconnecting. Really, of course, to reconnect to, you know, the more immersive spiritual forces that exist within the higher realms, because Pisces rules the spirit world and the invisible and all that is unseen. But it's just, there can be a lack of like practical realism and fixedness within the like 3D reality when we've got strong energy like this going on. So, you know, with the Mercury retrograde influence on Monday, you may hear from someone from the past, revisit something that was relevant, again, maybe in the beginning of March when Mercury was in this same place. Conversations about relationships are very likely this week with the proximity of Mercury and Venus together, both re-entering the sign of Pisces and heading that Neptune, maybe sorting out past grievances or renegotiating things. If there's going to be any deals or negotiations going on, the only or the best outcomes are going to be for those that are being renegotiated or resolved, or that we're going back to for a second time. If you're trying to sign a contract or get a deal or a sale or a negotiation or something going in this energy, it's probably not going to make it all the way through to the execution or the sale or whatever it is. But if you are going back and fixing something that was at an impasse or that needed to be renegotiated, that is what this energy is for, and it will probably enable whatever that was to begin moving forward. This could have to do with legal situations and stuff like that as well. And because of this Neptune influence and the personal planets, Mercury and Venus, again, conjuncting Neptune, I think, and Neptune's tendency towards release and letting go, I do think actually people are going to be more willing to let go of things this week than maybe they have throughout the course of the month of March. Like if there was some type of like deal or sale or negotiation or something that was at an impasse or that couldn't move forward because people were refusing to budge or to adapt or to, negotiate or to compromise on something, I think that people are going to be much more compromised, much more willing to take a loss in one way or surrender or sacrifice something at this point in time than they were, again, maybe at the beginning of this month or at the beginning of February when we had this energy the first time. There could also, though, with this be the sense or the feeling of things falling apart, crumbling, coming unraveled. This could be impacting the mental energy as well. People kind of all over the place, losing their grasp on reality, losing their mind. You may feel yourself losing your mind, or as we move through this energy, delusions, illusions, fantasies, visions, ideals, and backwards thinking are like kind of what's dominating the mental energy field as we move, especially through, again, the beginning part of this week. People are not going to be interpreting things likely as they actually are. So double, triple check everything. Great week to fine tune and practice your active listening skills. Repeat back. You think you heard something from someone, repeat back to them what you think that they just said. Just so that you can try to make sure as much as possible that you're on the same page as other people. Also, like big purchases, I would not recommend it this week. This is not really the week to like buy a new car or, you know, just spend a lot of money on technology, or even like really expensive clothes or something like that as well. With the Venus retrograde energy, there's just likely to be like down the road, this sentiment of, oh my God, why was I thinking? Why did I buy that? I should have waited. I don't even like it. It's that type of thing, okay? So double or triple check everything written. Verbal communications for sure. Mistakes and errors and misunderstandings are much more likely in this energy. Also be careful with travel, pretty much any kind of travel, air travel, sea travel, travel by car, travel by bicycle. Just could be a bit of a mess out there. Again, like people are not seeing things clearly. People are distracted, okay? This could be very distracted, like head in the clouds, spaced out, dazed and confused type of energy. A lot more people are probably literally going to be on something this week, as well as this very, very strong Neptunian Piscean energy oftentimes correlates to escaping reality through like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. So another thing to keep in mind, I personally think it's a good week to sort of like lay low and mind your business, not hyper involve yourself in things that you don't, you know, necessarily need to be involved in. Trust and believe with the fated dimension of everything going on out there. If you need to be involved with it this week, you will be involved in it, probably without much effort on your part. So again, like things may feel a bit out of control as we move through the energy of the week. And it's interesting because remember when I was talking earlier about another one of the vibe shifts that we've got going on this week with the black moon leaving Libra, entering the sign of Scorpio. This is going to likely activate fears, worries, insecurities, doubts pertaining to maybe a sense of powerlessness, insecurity, or loss. So fears associated actually with letting go of things could be a theme this week amidst the simultaneous need to let go of things. So, you know, there could be people kind of being triggered for one reason or another and perhaps acting out, maybe being hyper possessive as a result of knowing that they've reached the end of something and they need to let go. So projection and triggered emotions, triggered fears could be something that we are kind of dealing with as we move through the last couple of days of this Pisces cycle of this 2024 energetic year and prepare to hit that solar eclipse, new moon in Aries, again, that's coming up on the 29th. Remember, the 27th is when we have this black moon energy take place. So it really is hitting like the last 2 days of this hardcore karmic release energy. So if you find yourself kind of maybe caught up in some fears about what's ending or, you know, what's coming to the end or what you gotta let go of, it may be the activation of this black moon and Scorpio energy that is just beginning to make itself known in your life. And again, we're going to be working with this energy and through this energy for the next 9 months. So we will talk much more about it. But I do not think that these are going to be the easiest times, you guys, neither, you know, what we're moving through this week or moving through through the month of April with this like continued Saturnian presence going on. These transformations and changes we are moving through now are not for the faint of heart, okay? They are testing us. They are pulling it out of us. And there is a need to harness our faith and accept our lessons and our discipline and do our best to embody and step into the spiritual warrior archetype, okay, as we move into April 2025 and this new astrological year coming up. Why do I say that? I say that because Neptune, Poseidon, the Lord of the Sea, is moving into the sign of Aries, which is the Lord of the battlefield. It's the warrior archetype. Neptune is, of course, the planet representing the spirit world and our connection to a higher power in the sign of Aries. This is best channeled in terms of the spiritual warrior archetype energy. Now, there's a lot of other ways that this energy will manifest and represent, and we're going to be talking so much about it. Actually, we're probably going to start focusing more heavily on this Neptune Aries energy next week, because the last video that I put out for this week is going to be for the 29th. Obviously, the 30th would be included in that, but that will be the new moon solar eclipse video, so I won't be able to focus in specifically on the Neptune Aries energy, which again is happening the very next day. So we will start our week next week going in depth into this Neptune Aries energy, how it's going to affect us, you know, on a personal level, and what we're likely to see play out kind of on the macrocosm world stage type of level based on maybe some historical context of the last time that Neptune transited through the sign of Aries. So that will be coming up for you guys next week. But for now, you know, we are navigating the fog. There is a need to expand our faith and our intuition while also perhaps feeling very tested, very held back. Like I was saying in my last video, this time is sort of resonating to the vibe of 40 days in the desert from the biblical context perspective. You know what I mean? We need to be able to believe without seeing, and to be able to keep going without knowing necessarily where we're going, but just knowing that we are doing the best that we can. We're putting our best foot forward. We are acting and moving with integrity and authenticity. And if we are on that page, if we are trying our best, even if we're not seeing results, even if we're not seeing outcomes, even if things don't seem to be going in the trajectory we'd like them to go, we need to keep enduring, okay? Because again, Mars trines Saturn. This is another like sign of just the times that we're in right now. Our efforts are rewarded in the long term for our hard work that we're putting in right now. This is the tortoise and the hare, you know what I mean? Hard work pays off here, and slow and steady is what we're being called to do as we do whatever we're doing at this specific point in time, okay? So even when our beliefs are being challenged and tested, when we don't know what to think and believe, because there could be really some tests of our faith or tests of our belief, or questioning with Mercury retrograding back into the sign of Pisces and Venus retrograding back in the sign of Pisces. That's doubts, questioning everything, questioning what we think about things, questioning reality, questioning our faith, questioning our spiritual connection, questioning God, you know? So if you find yourself there, that also is a part of this whole process of internal transformation that is going to turn into some type of really profound external transformation as we move through the year of 2025. Overall, you guys, this week is all over the place, okay? People may be backtracking on things, pulling out of things, divesting, changing their minds, looking for an out, looking for an escape route, dazed and confused, drugs and alcohol, like I said. Things to do with water also, another week where there's like a very strong water orientation, all things having to do with water. And it's not for starting things. This energy is just not for starting things, especially through the 29th, while we are in the very last couple days of our entire astrological energetic year, not to mention the last couple of days of this new moon in Pisces cycle, and the last couple of days also of a south node solar eclipse window. This is just not the time when we want to initiate things, not the time to try to push things forward. This energy is for release, surrender, resolutions, changing and letting go. Mars right now, ruling the sign of Aries, where all of this energy is taking place, is at 22 degrees of Cancer. That Sabian symbol is a woman awaiting a sailboat. That may be a vibe. You may really feel like that for some reason as we move throughout the course of the week. Cleansing, purification, resting, creativity and artistry very supported in this energy, but being in a more passive state. This is not active, assertive, aggressive energy. This is passive, surrender, like retreat, you know, like stepping back, taking a break, relaxing. Also, charity, philanthropy, like altruism, donating to a cause could be collective themes as we move through this energy as well. The strong Neptunian influence can have a quite like compassionate, self-sacrificing component to it. Also, of course, though, that can bring up themes of victimhood, weakness, vulnerability, and manipulation. Don't let yourself be played by someone else's enhanced state of victimhood right now that just has you being the martyr. Like the martyr victim situation can be prominent when we've got energy like that, so you could spot some of that out there in the wild this week. But generally, and as a result of this sacrificial component of things, people ready to let go, to give things away, simplify, minimize, maybe compromise or negotiate on something that they had been holding out quite firmly on. We are clearing the decks this week as we head towards that new moon and Aries solar eclipse, preparing for the new spread of cards that we are going to be dealt next. That is going to define the 2025 year that we are about to be moving through from the astrological energetic perspective. In terms of the Sabian symbol placement, where we have the Mercury Sun alignment happening on Monday, that's at 5 degrees of Aries, a triangle with wings, and the position of the Earth, the polarity point to that is 5 degrees of Libra. That is a man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students. So triangle with wings, that generally makes me think of creative solutions and elevated perspective, things being facilitated in a way that kind of uplifts us or carries us out and away from maybe something that had been functioning as some type of challenge. A triangle, the number 3, that's a very creative number. Trines are facilitating and supportive. This could also be some type of spiritual influence that is supporting us throughout this period of time, helping us to like elevate and rise above some of the issues perhaps. And then the man teaching the true inner knowledge of the new world to his students. This whole process to me is a process of us essentially like rediscovering ourselves and our place in this reality and in this world as we are kind of recalibrated energetically in correspondence with the new frequencies that are coming in, being emanated from the galactic center, and the way that these alignments are just arriving and coming online right now as we transition on a frequency-based level into this pending age of Aquarius. So that's what I have to say, you guys. That's what I think is going on in terms of the general astrological story to get our week started this week. I want to, and kind of, you know, the summary of what's going on all week, I want to talk about tarot cards for a minute. There's a kind of an interesting set of messages and themes that are coming out in our tarot spread for today. First of all, we've got 3 sets of 2 cards, all right? So some of these may apply to you, none of them may apply to you, all of them may apply to you. The sequential order of them may have some special relevance, but the first set of cards we have coming out is the 4 of Pentacles with the 2 of Swords. This to me is being perhaps at a stalemate or at a place of indecision in terms of whether we should hang on to something or whether we should let something go, whether we need something for some type of security or whether we'll be okay without it, like whether we really need to guard something and hold something close to us, or whether it's not relevant or necessary anymore, or whether we are ready to move on. Like, this is kind of like the things that I have held, the things that I have protected, the things that I have maybe defined myself by or found value or worth or wealth or material comfort or something like that in, maybe being at a point where I don't know if it's time to stay or go. Maybe I am ready to move on from this thing, release it, surrender, cut myself loose, okay? So that could be an element of this. The next two cards we have coming up, the Fool in reverse and the Devil. There is an energy of temptation that could be going on as we move through this week. The Black Moon and Scorpio energy is also perhaps likely to kick up some temptations, and where maybe addictions or temptations or feeding perhaps some of our more shadow side tendencies could be having a negative impact on our lives or our ability to start something new and go in a new direction. This could be bringing up karmic attachments, toxic relationships, toxic subconscious programming that is stifling our growth, holding us back, keeping us in a state of fear or unable to move forward and start something new right now. I mean, this is the Fool. I feel like this is essentially where we're at and where we're trying to go as we move into the month of Aries with that new moon and Aries cycle, like the new journey, right? But it's interesting because the Devil card is also associated with Saturn and Capricorn energy. And we have Saturn about to conjunct the North Node and then move into the sign of Aries coming up here pretty soon, I'm pretty sure. And that could perhaps, again, be like putting some restriction or pressure or resistance to our ability to move things forward in this new direction in the way that we want to. We could feel bound or attached to something from the past that is preventing us from moving forward. But again, that is what this eclipse time and this karmic release time is trying to help us do as well, and doing for us too, trying to cut some of those ties, cut some of those chains that have kept us bound to the things that were sabotaging our progress. So this could be, talking about maybe energy that we are to be interfacing with in the future, or it could be explaining the current state of things and what we're actually being released from now, or what needs to be released or overcome in order to be able to head out in that new direction, go in that new journey, start something fresh, start something new. And then the third set of cards that we had coming out, we've got the King of Wands and the Three of Pentacles in reverse. This could be like breakdowns in collaborations or partnership dynamics, or even like work groups, teams, or something like that, which as a byproduct causes us to need to come more into our own independent creative power for some reason. This could be like losing the support of co-workers, or like having to or like deciding to not be a part of some type of group or team or situation, like a partnership situation that maybe was something that we had been collaborating with or working on projects in a group or something, and for whatever reason now we're coming to find that in order for us to like truly be successful in whatever it is that we're trying to do or initiate or create, we need to like cut ourselves free maybe from the group, or we need to branch out and go on it ourselves. This reminds me of like somebody who like makes music or something, leaving the band and becoming like a solo artist, or I don't know, something like that. But there could be some breakdown in some collaborative effort or group dynamic that is part of a process of like personal individuation, or that is helping us like take power back and be in a better place to actually execute on or implement our creative intentions or goals for some reason. Finding power through the dissolution or the breakdown of the group dynamic. So I don't know, or maybe like there is a new leader that is emerging and that is changing the group dynamic of things somehow. I don't know. This is kind of a tricky one, but that's what I kind of think. On the back of the deck, we have the Four of Wands card. Again, like this could have to do with relationship dynamics. It could have to do with family dynamics. It could have to do with like marriage, commitment based type of situations, celebrations. Could have to just generally do with balance and security and comfort somehow. Again, like it's making me think of this first set of cards. A lot of people, I think, are going to be questioning if they want to continue to put their time and energy and effort and resources into the same things they've been invested in, maybe their whole life or just in the past, or I don't know, reconsidering. Buyer's remorse could be a thing right now. So that's what I have to say today, you guys, about the tarot cards. We're going to get one final piece of advice right now, a synchronicity card. God, Spirit, Universe, what do we need to know? What should we keep in mind as we move through this week? That card came flying out. And our card, you guys, it says wait, which is interesting because this is not a card that we get often. And as I've been saying, this is not the time when we want to be rushing head first into anything. Wait on the Lord and he shall save thee. Proverbs 20:22. Relax, let go, and let God. Don't struggle to make things happen before they are ready to happen. Wait and be assured everything is working together for your good. Now is not the right time to advance. Wait in faith and expectancy of the very best. Know that when the time comes to advance, you will be directed to say and do the right thing. So exactly, like literally exactly right in alignment with how I'm feeling these astro vibes coming together right now. Now is not the time to advance. We don't want to be pushing things forward. Nothing is really under our control right now, within our control, except the way that we are practicing self-control and discipline in and of and regarding ourselves and our mind, and where we're allowing ourselves to be geared and oriented mentally and emotionally. So we are not struggling to make things happen right now. We are surrendering to the process that is underway with the faith and expectancy of the very best, even if we can't see it, even if everything is distorted, even if it seems like everything's falling apart. It may be, but it is also working on coming together in a way that perhaps we couldn't have imagined. So wait is our memo for the day, you guys. Message from the cards, message from the stars. I hope that you guys liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would enjoy this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I'm so grateful for your presence on my channel. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you are having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group where I post images of those boards linked in my description box below. And come back with me on Wednesday, you guys. We have a lot more energy, of course, as I've said, to get into the Black Moon enters sign of Scorpio. We'll be talking much more about that on Wednesday. And also, of course, Venus backing into Pisces, coming into conjunction with Neptune. Yeah, we got some things to talk about. Also, don't forget about Otter Spirit, you guys. Amazing crystal jewelry company. If you like my bracelets, check out my link to Otter Spirit in my description box as well. You can get 20% off with my promo code or through using that link. And I will see you guys next time. Have a really beautiful introduction to your week and come back with me on Wednesday. You don't want to miss all that we've got to talk about coming up. Until then, bye guys.